Okay, I am finally live. Anyway, I was finishing up some paintings and some phone calls. I am griping, seriously griping. I was supposed to get, hopefully you're there, and if you're here, welcome. This is TD, and it's hot as blazes out here. Got my fans, turn them off. So, I was due to receive a nice new Angricoid yesterday, and it got stuck at the distribution center. So I fully expected it to be here today. Waited around, was really supposed to go to Hauserman, and then found out that it was not going to be shipped until Wednesday. What the? That doesn't make any sense, really. And there's no way to pick it up before. No way. So I, in the meantime, received phone calls about available plants and 1 day sale. Make a phone call when I potentially was going to go to Hauserman. That's what my plan was, and get some bark. This is the bark that I get. Highly recommend it. But it does, and it's like 20 bucks for that much. And lasts a while, and it's a good quality. But they closed at 3. I didn't think they closed until 4. So that really just put a wrench in my whole day. Waiting on that package that never was even going to come in the first place, the excitement of it, and then the disappointment of it all, really. And like I said, in the meantime, these plants became available, which were plants right up my alley, and were plants, they were angraecums. And I wanted to see what was in Hauserman's first, of course, because, you know, they have angraecoids, before I purchased this plant, which was actually a nice plant. So, uh, anyway, you see the frustration. It's layer upon layer upon layer of frustration. But there's a lot of good out here. This is my Dendrobium falciparum. Hopefully it's in focus. But I had showed you previously this bud, and past that is, that's a cluster, that's a bud right there, and then there's probably going to be more at the top. I would not be surprised. So that's a very nice thing. And there could potentially be more. This plant blooms off of mostly deciduous, but it can bloom off of canes with leaves. And here is my Arangus punctata with that flower spike. Nice. Now, another situation I had was I had put the shade cloth up yesterday, this shade cloth. Then this morning when I came home, it was all down. And actually, you see, there's a flower missing here. And what happened yesterday was I decided to pollinate. And I initially was going to try to pollinate this Angraecum microrhianum. And yeah, that on to Aranthes grandiflora, just because I think it's more unique of a blooming plant with this pendant spike that can successively bloom. cap off and the pollen off of the plant. As you can see, it's gone because it would be right in there. The pollen was on a toothpick and it didn't even, it just popped off somewhere, probably in the water down here. So what I had to do was take the pollen from the flower that is no longer on the plant. It was on this inflorescence. And I took the pollen, there's the flower down there, right there. But anyway, I took the pollen from that plant and put it successfully. I don't see it. Stuck it on a toothpick way back there. So we shall see. And honestly, I think something is happening because that spur is changing color, the flower, but these are short-lived flowers. So we shall see what happens. This would be the normal process of a dying flower. We'll see what happens. That would be something new. Uh, what else? Oh, I know. There's that spike back there. That is on my Dendrobium rotostictum. And I think that this Gastrocylus obliquus is throwing out what I think could possibly be inflorescence. Some of those do not look like roots. And I'm not going to get into that right now. Let's see. Anything else happening? This is one fragrant mama. I can't emphasize that enough. Miss Mahler really shows out. So anyway, and this is my Catante confetti. Got that at that auction at, wow, that should be coming up soon at the Missouri Botanical Garden. There's a sheath in there. Wow, this light is so bright. But there's a sheath. And this is the Cattleya irricolor that I repotted. There's another flower. Let me see. Really liking the looks of this. And I don't know. Looks like this is filling up with something. And there's a couple more inflorescence with sheaths. That is chocolate drop kodama. Ah, it's hot as a blaze. So yeah, I guess that's. I got to get my dragon's blood out to get those browning areas taken care of. But what I was primarily going to gripe about was the things that I have already discussed and my stupid A encyclias who just teased me. And I was obsessed with them, encouraged by, my buddy who has the most amazing, amazing, uh, well, yeah, we all know every single one. And besides the ones that have already flowered, really, I've been getting excellent, excellent, excellent growth in roots. But really, in big, healthy new growths. But when it comes to flower blooms. Look how fat these new growths are. And these over here. Let's put out 2 new growths this year. And these are the ones that I got from Afri Orchids that are just this one and this one. You can see the roots on this all over. This one is a little bit slower, but it's got lots of new growths coming up, and the roots will eventually make it there. This is Parviflora, and this is a lot of times Kruger Savannah. But yeah, I'm cussing them out just because I'm like a loser slacker. That's what I'm called, the slacker. My orchids are slacking. My crazy arachno hasn't bloomed, and it should have. There's a nice sheath that's on that Patente, Panache, and Fora. Lots of sheaths. I noticed there's a sheath over here. I think this is uh, BC Daffodil. And there's another sheath I know on a Cattleya. That's right. No, I know where it is. It is right here. See that sheath right there? Anyway, that is a sheath. And chocolate drop times BC Mimosa. But yeah, cursing out my ENCYCLIAs. Just loser. Loser, loser, loser. There's Xerophytica. All that new growth. And nothing. Growth's coming out of the side. Nothing. Oh well. So yeah, this is that plant, Versabila nodosa grandiflora Josephine Newman. Something else that is a funny thing. Well, it's not funny, but I got this plant, which is a David Sander, Versavila David Sanders. It says petite. That's its David Sanders. And it had what I thought was a freshly opened flower. And at the time, my cuckolata here was a freshly opened flower as well. Huge open flower. The next morning I came out and they both look like they've been pollinated. I think something happened. Wouldn't it be a coincidence because they are in close proximity? Boom, boom. But that's not so likely. But still, is it a coincidence? So I did, as I said, put another shade cloth up, and I am liking the level of shadow that I'm receiving. in here because things were just getting a bit too much, too much, too much. So, and things are much cooler now. But I am still burning up, and I am really gonna cut it short. And this is getting ready to show its inflorescence as well. Trust my word. But anyway, folks, let me check this out. This is the Gongora histrionica. And there's the inflorescence. And then looks like there's a couple more right there. This is an example of, it looks like there is yet another. No, that's the same inflorescence that has snaked from way in the middle of the plant all the way to the edge. Love that. But yeah, this is an example I was saying about how this was getting cooked. So I moved it in here, and now it's doing better, much better. And it'll be in need of a repot once it's done. It gets done blooming, and it's just kind of sitting there, right there, getting shade and some good humidity. Oh, so folks, that's all there is right now. Thanks for watching, and enjoy your orchids. And stay tuned for more. Make sure you like and subscribe if you do so. And again, thanks